News of Dungeons & Dragons releases for this year are starting to roll out faster. GameMasters here, and we now know the exact adventures that we will see in Quests from the Infinite Staircase, which is advertised by Wizards of the Coast as being an anthology that will take classic D&D adventures and convert them up to 5th edition, and will take characters from level 1 to level 13. But up until now, we've not known exactly what those adventures are. Oh, and towards the end of this video, I'll tell you about a little surprise that Wizard has in store for this particular book. The classic adventures are going to be B4's The Lost City, I3's Pharaoh, S3's Expedition to Barrier Peaks, S4's The Lost Caverns of Sajkanth, UK1's Beyond the Crystal Cave, and UK4's When a Star Falls. Without knowing exactly how the adventures will shape up into 5th edition, I did want to briefly cover how the adventures appeared back in the day. Oh, and keep in mind, as we explore them, there may be a spoiler or two for the 5th edition version. The Lost City was a module written by Tom Modvay and was released in 1982 and was designed for a party of 6 to 10 characters of 1st to 3rd level. In this adventure, they got consumed by a sandstorm and find refuge in a forgotten city of Syndesia, whereupon they find a pyramid. The adventure has players exploring subterranean hallways, fighting gnomes, goblins, and other wandering monsters, as well as something called a Zargon, a horned, tentacled lizard monster. Now, this monochrome version is how it was depicted back in the early 80s, and this full color one is how it's going to appear in 5th edition. Pharaoh also came out in 1982 and was for Advanced D&D, written by Tracy and Laura Hickman. It was designed for characters of levels 5 to 7. Also taking place in a desert, also within a pyramid, a ghostly pharaoh appears and demands the players plunder his tomb to retrieve a staff and a magical gem. Players are going to fight a minotaur, doppelgangers, and other monsters, including some sandworms called thunder herders that range anywhere from 5 to 10 feet in length. Now, be careful of how you step, for they can sense vibrations. Think tremors here. Before we continue with the next adventure's descriptions, I first need to thank these nostalgic supporters, as their contributions to the channel have been legendary. And I have made it so that I don't have to take on sponsored ads for this video. I ask that each one of you watching, please give that a thumbs up click in support, and that goes a long way, and I thank you for that. Expedition to the Barrier Peaks came out in 1980 and was written by Gary Gygax himself. It was designed for characters of levels 8 to 12, and departing greatly from a desert environment, this one takes place in the Barrier Peaks in the Greyhawk setting. But then it kind of takes a really wild turn as the players find themselves inside of a spaceship. Science fiction-based spaceship. They're going to encounter intellect devourers, robots, carnivorous plants, and many more strange creatures. They'll also find laser guns, and yeah, this one was really out there. The Lost Caverns of Sajkanth was also written by Gary Gygax and came out in 1982, and was designed for characters levels 6 to 10. Also taking place in Greyhawk, this one tasks the players to seek out the lost treasure of Archmage Igwilv in the Lost Caverns. They will encounter a wyvern, a blue dragon, and a cavern of corpses, among other things. But it is the sleeping warrior maid that they really need to be on the watch for. Beyond the Crystal Cave came out in 1983 and was written by Dave J. Brown, Tom Kirby, and Graham Morris, and was designed for characters levels 4 to 7. Also taking place in Greyhawk, this one will have the characters attempting to enter a crystal cavern in an effort to locate a governor's daughter and the man she ran away with. Finding them could net the party a cool 10,000 gold, which was a lot of gold back in the 80s. In this adventure, you may very well encounter some leprechauns that can transform your weapons into stuffed teddy bears. When a Star Falls was written by Graham Morris and came out in 1984 and was designed for characters levels 3 to 5. Players will seek out a falling star and bring it to one of several possible wanters. They will encounter giant wasps, giant spiders, and a red dragon, among other creatures throughout this adventure. But I can say this, if they manage it properly, there is a lot of valuable loot in that red dragon's lair. All of that said, Who knows how much of the original adventures are going to remain intact and how much will be added or altered. I'm a fan of where D&D came from, so it's going to be interesting to see how this Quests of the Infinite Staircase shapes up. And as a quick side note, this isn't the first time that Infinite Staircase has shown up in D&D lore. Back in the late 1990s, there was an adventure called Tales from the Infinite Staircase, written by Monty Cook from the Planescape setting, in which the staircase itself was used as a method, a means of travel from different planes of existence, such as Forgotten Realms, Greyhawk, or Dragonlance. And there appears to be no connection between Tales and Quests other than the Infinite Staircase itself. It also presented several adventures that were not overtly connected other than via the staircase, and I imagine that the new Quest staircase will be of a similar presentation, mainly because other than a setting, there really isn't much of a connection with the adventures being included. But that leads me to ask you, actually, I'll ask that in a moment. We also know that this new book will contain hooks for each adventure, something that the DM can use to tether their world to the staircase and also use as a means of travel between quests. The stairs are overseen by a noble genie known as Nafas, and upon hearing someone's wish, he makes it his aim to help. And in this, he tasks heroes with being the means to answer and fulfill that wish. For example, perhaps 3 archmages make a wish to stop Vecna, only to find your adventuring party there to answer that wish because Nafas saw something in you and your party that could grant the Archmage's wish. Yeah, I fully believe that we will see a direct connection here from the Vecna Eve of Ruin book to the Quests from the Infinite Staircase book. Anthologies have been a fairly good, strong play for Wizards of the Coast for D&D content, so I have moderate to high hopes for this one, but that's the news that we have for it for now about Quests from the Infinite Staircase. As mentioned at the beginning of this video, it's not due out until July, so we still have some time before major excitement really starts to hit, and I just wanted to bring this little bit of information to all of you. Remember too, at the top of the video, about me saying that Wizards has a bit of a surprise for us? Listen, on March 26th, they're giving away a free one-shot version of The Lost Caverns of Sajkant to us over on D&D Beyond. This version is described as being a streamlined version for 9th level parties that will take about 3 to 4 hours to complete. It's pretty cool. The question I wanted to ask, let me leave you with this. Can you spot a common thread in the adventures that will be included? Lost City, Pharaoh, Expedition, Lost Caverns, Crystal Cave, and When a Star Falls? Is there an overarching connection that you can see? If you do, or if you have a theory, let me know down in the comments. And until next our paths cross, oof, get your legs ready to climb an infinite amount of stairs.